Hi, everyone, and welcome to Hidden in Plain Sight, Exploring Mattress and Textile Reuse and Recycling. This is our third and final webinar as part of our Reduce, Reuse, Recyclepalooza series, which we held annually in honor of America Recycles Day. My name is Kathy Dudnoff. I'm part of the Recycle Smart MA team at the Massachusetts Department of Environmental Protection. And tonight I'm joined by four really great guest speakers that'll be presenting about the work that they do with textiles and mattresses. And I'm also joined by the absolutely wonderful Janice Pare of the Recycle Smart team, who will be helping out with the chat. We're excited to have this webinar to unveil what happens when you send your mattresses or your textiles for reuse or recycling, or you donate it. There's a lot of great work that's happening in the state, and this is just a taste of it. A few things related to Zoom. You'll notice that you're muted, and we did this for the duration of the webinar to avoid any sounds interrupting our speakers while they're presenting. You'll see a black bar along the bottom of your screen, and that's where you'll be able to type any questions or comments into the chat box, which we will read out loud during our Q&A later on. And just so you know, this webinar is being recorded, as we are going to add it to a Recyclepalooza playlist later on. So here's our agenda for tonight. I'm going to do a quick background on the recent mattress and textile waistbands. And then we're just going to kind of get right into it and have our speakers start presenting so we can learn more about the work that they do with their organizations. We'll have two speakers talking about textiles and two that'll be focusing on mattresses. And then at the end of that, we'll hold our Q&A. So you may have heard that as of November 1st, 2022, two new waistbands went into effect. A waistband is implemented for a few reasons, and one of which is to stop good recyclable materials from being trashed. So textiles and mattresses have joined a list of materials that can no longer be sent for disposal as part of our 2030 solid waste master plan. Our goal here is to reduce the trash tonnage, and by keeping these two materials out of the waste stream, we'll be reducing that number in a big way while reusing or recycling good material. If you want to learn more about this, I recommend reading the Recycle Smart Waistbands 101 newsletter, which I'll be asking Janice to add to the chat, please. These are just some numbers for a little more context about the huge potential to reuse and recycle these materials. Massachusetts annually throws away around 300,000 mattresses, and over 75% of those mattress and box spring components could have been recycled or reused. For textiles, around 230,000 tons are thrown away annually in Massachusetts. 95% of that could have been reused, resold, or remade into something new. Now, the number doesn't include any textiles or mattresses that are heavily soiled or moldy, but those make up such a small percentage that the overwhelming majority would be reused. The good news is that your town or city has likely set up a recycling program for these materials. And so to learn more about your local options, we encourage you to reach out to your town or city. The easiest way is through an internet search to find the municipal website. And so an example of what I would look up would be Boston MA Mattress Collection or Boston MA Textile Collection. So what happens next after all these materials are collected? Well, that's why we're lucky to be joined by some of the folks that are working directly with the materials. And so now I think it's time for our speakers to take over and give us a look at the behind the scenes of reuse and recycling of textiles and mattresses. Tonight, we're joined by Sean Newell of More Than Words and Nicole Pellegrino of Helpsy, who will speak more about their work with textiles. And then we're going to switch gears a bit and hear from Eric Dyson of HandUp and Rodney Clara of Tough Stuff Recycling to learn more about mattresses. And after we hear from all our speakers, we'll do our Q&A. And so without further ado, I'd like to introduce Sean Newell of More Than Words, and I'm going to stop sharing.
And I hope everybody can hear me. Thank you, Kathy. You can hear me. Just shake your head real quick because you're the person I see the most. Like Kathy said, I'm Sean Newell from More Than Words. Just hit this button, sorry. So More Than Words is a nonprofit social enterprise. We are in the south end of Boston and also Waltham. Youth are referred to us through the foster care system. Court-involved homeless are out of school. They come to work on two jobs. One is their business job, which we are a large e-commerce book business. So we sell books online, and in our bookstores, we have a 4,000 square foot bookstore right in the south end of Boston, another 500 square foot bookstore in Waltham. And then we have an online e-commerce third-party business that has about almost 200,000 listings that we sell both on Amazon, eBay, across marketplaces. So in our businesses, we are about 4 million in gross revenue. And a small slice of that, which we've just started the last couple of years, is in the sale of used clothing. And so during COVID, we set up a used clothing business, and I'll take you through that in a second here. So when young people come to More Than Words, again, they work on a business job, and simultaneously they work on a U job. So they work in our business for about 20 to 30 hours a week. It's paid jobs. They go through a promotion process. So in that 6 to 12 months, they're a partner, associate, senior part, or associate, partner, senior partner. They start at $15 an hour and work their way up to $18 an hour when they're a senior partner. Then we serve them 2 years after in our graduate program. Inside the walls, we work on advocacy and career services as well. And so advocacy, if they have any kind of court involvement, if they need permanent housing, if they are staying in shelters, we have a large homeless population that we serve. And so we work through that 6 to 12 month program, and even after that, to make sure they're stabilized and they're ready to move on a pathway to a living wage. And that's that career services space that we say is 2 years, but really we work with them much longer than that. Why is a social service agency talking about textiles? I'll take you through it in a second. I have a little bit of lag here, sorry. So right before COVID hit, we were getting inundated with requests from book donors that say, hey, I got a bunch of clothing and a bunch of other stuff. Do you guys want to take it? And for the longest time, we said no. But if we were running around 4 to 5 box trucks a day in and around the city, mostly in the inner 495 range and sometimes outside of that. And we'd fill the truck about halfway full, obviously cubic feet wise, with books. And so we had our books in these rolling bins. We'd have all this space left over, and said, you know what, why not? Why don't we just start taking clothing and see what we can do with it? And so we started very, very, very grassroots, very small, soft launch, just said sure when people asked us, and then saw that we could sell it downstream. And really it was just bringing stuff in and selling it wholesale to whoever take it. Actually, when you hear from Nicole's one of our biggest supporters, and so thank you to her. She's one of our biggest supporters of the social service agency, and one of the first people we started selling the clothing to. And so it started to pick up, and then bam, COVID hit. And we had to shut down all of our forward-facing opportunities at More Than Words. And so all our bookstores closed. Really anything we were doing with the public closed. And so like, what are we supposed to do with all this clothing now? I think a lot of the trucking companies had really slowed to a halt. We stopped selling it. And we wanted to keep young people busy. And so we just started saying, what the heck, let's try to sell it online where everybody else was selling everything. So we kind of went through and said, you know what, let's start listing on eBay. Let's start listing on Poshmark. And that's exactly what we did. And we turned our bookstores into online clothing spaces, which was really cool. We just had full racks in these spaces just selling textiles. And that's, right at the end, not really the end of COVID, but we started working through COVID. You got more comfortable with it. And that's when the opportunity came up with the DEP to apply for a grant to really kind of blow this out. And so as we learned and saw the opportunities for young people, and just there was this very organic, beautiful process that was happening with young people, and they learned how to list clothing online. It wasn't like books. It wasn't this mindless scanning of barcodes. It was this really neat, awesome opportunity to be entrepreneurs. And so we really wanted to cultivate that with our young people. And so through the process with the EP, we were able to raise enough funds, obviously, to rebrand ourselves. And so before, we were just taking what we were getting. All the donors were saying, sure, we'll give it to you, sure, we'll give it to you, but really weren't telling anybody we were taking. We weren't screaming to the heavens. And so this gave us the opportunity to rebrand our spaces, build a whole new model on how to get material, because we actually found we built an operation that could process it quick, get it in our doors, sell it online or in our retail location, and move it back out. Sorry, my presentation isn't moving as smooth as I'd like it to. And so our process right now is we retrieve, so that same 5 trucks, I think we've grown a little bit more now, but our same 5 trucks are going out or in and around the city, mainly the 495 belt, and picking up a ton of material. We bring it back. All our young people that are employed in that business are sorting those thousands of pounds of clothing that we're picking up every single day. We list really high-end, high-value things online. It's a much smaller amount now. We list very high value in these racks that we have hung in our Boston warehouse. And then a little bit lower mid-tiered value stuff we list in our bookstore. It's a very small inventory in both. And then what we can't or don't have the capacity to process or we can't list, we send out to wholesale. Again, Nicole's one of the people that support us. And so what I wanted to do is just show our participants today just what it looks like in our space just from the listing process here. And so there's a little bit of sound to it. I'm not going to play the sound through because it's cute, but just so you can see from the sort process to the list process, this is really our online process. It's like a 20-second video, but so you can see a small sample of what we do here. This is one of our young people. And that's it. And so again, through that grant we received from DP, we've rebranded all of our fleet at this point. We're actually in the process of buying 2 additional trucks to rebrand those as well. So we have about 50 to 60 containers in around the city drop spaces that we have rebranded, and now we are getting rewelded to accept clothing and books, and really just trying to ramp up as hard as we can. I think we found something really special for our young people to do, and obviously with the law passed, we're getting inundated with material. And so moving forward, I think so far we've been able to divert over 1 million pounds since we started taking it in. Again, we're going to increase our bin footprint and recycling stations in public spaces. We're going to pull a big marketing campaign. We're working with a digital marketing firm to push out marketing through our website that we actually take clothing. We want it to be diverted and come to us. And then we're going to grow our operations. So we plan to grow our portfolio of just drop bin locations, and also our spaces that we do with consignment shops. And so we work with pretty high end, like 4 to 6 consignment chains at this point that are high end, that give to us on a weekly basis of just stuff that rotates through their space. So hopefully we continue to grow. I think our big plan is to build big retail shops that we can have permanent employment for our young people. Our hope this year, our fiscal year runs until June 30th, that we're in the research and development phase to grow out these shops, hopefully 2 to 3 more just boutique thrift shops that our young people can have permanent employment with. So that's us. I will hand it over to Nicole.
Yeah, thank you, Sean. I think that was a great presentation. I enjoyed the video. I think it was cool to see it happening in slightly not real time, but still get to see the process. So thank you for that. And yeah, Nicole, go right ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, Sean, for the shout out. Just let me know when you can see my screen.
Yep, you're all set.
All right. So I'm Nicole. I'm from Helpsy. Helpsy is the largest textile collection company in the Northeast. Unlike most other clothing businesses, used clothing businesses, we have an environmental mission to keep clothes out of the trash, but we also want to extend the useful life of the clothing as well. We believe that the tragedy of clothing filling our landfills and incinerators needs to stop. And in order to fight this battle, we work with partners large and small to change the statistics. Sorry about that. to change the statistics, that 85% of the clothes currently end up in the trash. So since 2021 of last year, we've turned already 29 million pounds of direct from consumer unwanted clothes into paying municipalities and nonprofits, avoiding waste expenses for municipalities, also saving billions of gallons of water, and then avoiding emissions. We are proud to be the only vertically integrated certified B Corp in the clothing collection industry. We intentionally employ workers from all backgrounds. That includes vets, formerly incarcerated, those that have English as their second language, people of color, immigrants. And our company also offers all of our employees living wages and stock options. So how do we operate? We have a fleet of 35 trucks, 47 friendly drivers, and we have 4 main warehouses. The one in Massachusetts is actually in Woburn. We also have 9 depots up and down the Northeast, and then into the Midwest that we expanded into recently. We also provide around-the-clock customer service. So the textile waste problem, the average American actually discards over 100 pounds of clothes and shoes every year. 85% of that ends up in the landfill or the incinerator. So we fix this by making clothing reuse more convenient and compelling through our clothing bins, our drives, and our home pickups. So the challenge of clothing surplus, this is a quote from Reverend Nathan over at St. Peter's in Salem. He says that as a former volunteer with the Red Cross, I've seen firsthand how generous but misguided people clean out their closets to offer piles of clothing after natural disaster. And the reality is these well-intentioned donations result in a mountain of clothes that can't be processed. So Helpsy can collect at 2 items of clothing every second. And the way we're able to do that is through our unique collection network, which is 2,200 bins on 1,200 locations in 15 states. We also have hundreds of clothing drives, special events, and then we offer free home pickups to over 3 million people in over 30 cities in 5 states. So where do the clothes go? Well, the best thing we can do for a garment is to keep it wearable for as long as possible. And then all of our sorting actually happens domestically by folks that are paid living wages. 95% of what we collect is reused, upcycled, or recycled. The 20% that's recycled, it's recycled into things like industrial rags, filler, like car seat filler, and that's through our recycling partner. 75% is reused. So the middle tier is sold, 80% of it is sold to customers in North America. And then the highest tier is sold on our brand new direct to consumer secondhand site, Helpsy Shop. So it's our helpsy.com. So in order to make clothing friendly and more friendly, user friendly, these are the items that we accept. So we take any textiles in any condition. So it can be torn, worn, stained, missing buttons, broken zippers, as long as it's dry and odorless. It can be brand new with tags on it, all the way to something that you think needs to be thrown out, but we can actually extend the life of it. Our collection modes are, here's one, it'll show you the driver servicing a bin. So we have the bins, which is the classic collection mode. We also have the clothing drives, which are great fundraising opportunities for your community organizations. And then we also offer free home pickups in select municipalities in Massachusetts. Our drivers are trained to clean in and around the bins. A lot of times, one of the challenges we have is dumping at bins. So people tend to want to help, but they think by putting it by their bins, someone's going to actually use it. In reality, it's causing more trash because the items get wet and then we have to haul them away. And if we can't, we try our best to reuse them, but sometimes they have to end up in the landfill. So it's best to just put clothes that, put things in the bin, not outside the bins. We also give back. So this year we started what's called Project Warmth, and we're projected to give away 50,000 coats to the organizations that we currently work with that work with the underserved population for this winter. We also have facilitated 340 school and community clothing drives as fundraisers just in 2021. And then we also have a new affiliate program. So what that is we give 5% of the sales that are made through our brand new Helpsy shop website to the partners that the organization that we partner with, and that's a form of fundraising. It's kind of like Amazon Smiles, but it's 5% instead of the 1%. So I'm going to leave you with this quote. There's no such thing as a way. When we throw away anything, when we throw anything away, it must go somewhere. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicole. It's really great to see, I guess, the impact that Helpsy's having on, I think the Project Warm sounds really great to give back to the community. So thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
And so now we're going to switch gears a little and start hearing about mattresses. So Eric from HandUp, you're up. Eric, we can't hear or see you, just as an FYI.
Sorry about that. I can't unmute myself. It was saying the host is not letting me unmute.
Sorry
Can
about
you
that.
can you do my video too? I'm not able to do that. Sorry.
Can you make him a co-host?
Yeah.
All right, how about now? Perfect.
Perfect. Let's see. There we go. Sorry about that. Somehow I got knocked out there. So I was really paying attention, I promise. Good evening, everyone. So I'm just going to go through. Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Excellent. So my name is Eric Dyson. I'm from HandUp Mattress Recycling and Upcycling. So great to be here tonight. Thanks for taking your time to hear about mattress recycling. And I'm going to start actually with a video that was on Chronicle a couple weeks ago, because I think it sort of does a great job of talking about us and what we do, and then I'll be back.
We are not hearing the audio, Eric.
Yeesh. All right. I don't know how to do that. So you couldn't hear it? It worked the other day.
No, we didn't hear anything.
All right. Well, maybe we'll just show you some pictures really quick. So I'm going to try to figure out the audio. I don't know what it is. Sorry, guys.
Oh,
Is it
maybe you
working
could
now?
just yeah, maybe you could just was gonna say read through the subtitles there.
Sure. Or I can sort of just walk through it as I'm doing. As you can see, our team is unloading them from the truck right here. And then we sort the mattresses out basically to ensure that, you know, they can be recycled. And here we're talking about our retail store where we resell mattresses. So I'm going to sort of probably jump out of this then because it's not working on a all right, so I will jump out of that. So that was a good try, but it didn't work. Sorry about that. All right, can you see my screen again?
Yes.
Yep.
we can see.
Great. All right, so HandUp is a company that was started last year. I, along with some other investors, decided to start this company, and we created what we call HandUp Investments. So we're private investors launching, operating, and owning social impact businesses. And we initially decided to target mattress recycling, especially in Massachusetts, because of the impending ban at that time, which is now among us. We're a bit different than most companies. So we are a for-profit company, but we've all agreed that the majority of our profits, we think 60%, will be donated to a partner nonprofit that we're creating, which will then provide wraparound services to immigrant and refugees neighbors here in Massachusetts. So we're really looking at this as a way to fund that nonprofit, but in a way that sort of creates economic independence for us so that we're not out having to raise money every day. As that video was showing, we have a facility in New Bedford, Mass, in a 120-year-old spinning mill. So it's quite exciting to be back in a place where, you know, we're sort of getting back to its history, if you will, of being a mill and a manufacturing facility. We were able to visit a number of other mattress recyclers around that were very helpful and sort of helpful to us. So we went out to California, saw a bunch of plants in Oregon and also in Connecticut. and really use their approach of a demechanized approach, and that's what we've copied here. And Rodney will talk about his approach later, which I think is a different, also a great way to do this. One of the things that is very exciting about what we're doing, I think we are the only mattress recycler in Massachusetts, and maybe even among all the ones I've talked to in the US, that saw the value of not only just recycling the mattresses, but looking at how we could extend the life of these mattresses. Similar to what the folks are talking about, textiles, it's a much better solution in our view to extend the life versus just cut them apart and salvage the recyclable components. So we have a retail shop in New Bedford in the front of our facility, as well as we do sell on Marketplace and Facebook Marketplace. And what we're able to do is we're able to clean and sanitize the mattresses and then resell them for a fraction of the retail price to people, to give them a good quality place to sleep for a very reasonable price. And typically we're selling our mattresses at 10 to 15% of normal retail, which, if anyone's bought a mattress lately, knows that many times they're $2,000, $3,000, $4,000. So, a lot of most of our mattresses are, $100 to $300 for a very good, high quality mattress. People ask me all the time, how do you decide which mattresses are going to be recycled versus resold? Clearly, most of what we see are what we call end of life mattresses that need to be cut apart and have the components salvaged. But a percentage, and as you can see down here, about 7% of what we've collected so far this year, we have deemed we can resell. And we really look at three different things. First, the condition of the mattress, the wear and tear. As we're looking at the mattress, you can see if it's had a good long run and it's served its purpose. We're clearly not going to try to resell those. But many, many times, especially with the advent of the bed in the box sort of phenomenon of buying your internet mattress, Casper, Purple, Saatva, all those companies, they give a very generous return policy, which allows people up to 1 year to say, I don't want this mattress because it's not comfortable. And they in turn refund your money, but that mattress has to go somewhere. And those companies don't have an ability to resell these mattresses as new mattresses. And almost always they end up going to a landfill, or nowadays in Massachusetts, they would be cut and recycled. So we're looking at the condition of the mattress to see if in fact it's something we think is going to be resold. Most of the time, things that we're going to resell, they're in great shape, but someone thought they were throwing it away, so they dragged it across the floor, have some surface stains on it. Maybe they tore a little bit of the fabric, but it's in very, very good, physical condition. The second thing we can look at, which is ironic, and all of us probably at some point in our lives have joked about, why do you have that tag on your mattress or your pillow? That in fact gives you the date of manufacture. As you can see on this tag here, this is one that was in our shop last week that was manufactured in July of 2020. So we looked at that and we say, if it's less than 3 years, typically, it's something that we'll look at, take a second look at and see if we can in fact resell it. And then the third thing, of course, is we're looking at the type or the brand of the mattress. Higher end brands clearly sold at a higher retail value. So likely they're higher quality. So, we'll look at that, and we're getting a good sense now that we've been doing this for about 10 months of what the brands are that are interesting to people and we'll resell. And we clearly try to ensure that those mattresses, we put extra special care to figure out a way to resell them. So as I said, this year, 92.6% of the mattresses we've received have been recycled, but about 7.5% have in fact, we've been able to resell. The other big thing that people always ask about on every call is, oh, well, what about the mattresses that have to be rejected? And there's this big perception out there that, most mattresses are, when they're end of life, they're bad and therefore need to be sort of sent to a landfill. Clearly, all of us in this space are doing everything possible to keep them out of the landfills. And we've found in our experience last year, and it's sort of very clear, very similar to what we heard in the West Coast from the partners we talked to, as well as Mass DEP's assessment, that about less than 1% of everything that we take in is going to be rejected. So we're doing everything possible to avoid it being rejected. Now, here on the left, you see a picture of one that we had to reject, and clearly this is one that's gone through a lot. It's very dirty, it's mangled, so clearly whoever picked this one up probably used a front loader, or a claw, and broke all the steel inside. it's in really bad shape. So those are the ones that we would have to send to a landfill. And basically what we do is we're charged a fee by our local facility down here. And they have to be certified as, why they're not going to be recycled. So we will pass that cost along to our customer. And then we document all of this with a photo and the form that Mass DEP is using to make sure that no one's sort of just sending them to the landfill and saying they can't be recycled, but in fact, they really are. There's a legitimate reason why it can't be recycled. I think that's all I got. I'm just having lots of technical difficulties tonight. I apologize to everyone. So yeah, that's all for me. So I'm happy to answer any questions at the end.
All right, thank you so much, Eric. And just so everyone knows, we did add the link to the Chronicle video to the chat. So if you want to take a look at that after the webinar, you've got the opportunity to do so. And now we're going to hear from Rodney from Tough Stuff Recycling, who is our final speaker.
Hello. Let's hope that I don't have the technical difficulties that Eric had experienced.
So Rodney, when you share your screen on the bottom left-hand corner, there should be something that says like turn on sound. Just make sure you select that, and then hopefully the sound will work.
Okay, perfect. All right, let's see. Okay, I think I'm having the same issue.
We're seeing your internet, like we're not seeing slides or anything.
Okay, give me 1 second. Let me just find the.
There we
Thanks,
go.
Rodney. So you helped me see that. So I didn't feel it was bad now. Thanks a lot.
You should not have felt that, Eric.
All right, do we see it? And then you said there's a sound thing on this, and where is that? I just want to make sure that it plays.
So you want to click that before you hit share. So you might want to like unshare.
Oh no, I got to do this again. No. Let's see if it works. If it does, then I'm happy. Okay, if it doesn't hear sound, just let me know. I'm going to start off with the video. And by the way, hi, I'm Rodney for Tough Stuff Recycling. Let me see if it works. Everybody cross your fingers. Yes?
No.
Boom, bummer deal. Okay, let's stop share. Let's go back. Okay, so tell me again how to go about doing this.
So on the bottom of share screen, there's a little box that says share sound.
Share sound.
Hit share screen first, and then you should see it.
Oh yeah, share screen.
Share sound. There you are. Yes.
Yep.
Yes. Okay. All right. All right. Now let's go into the. All right. You see me? Right on. Let's do this. Let's go back. All right.
Because the mattress recycling industry is not very old. Even though they've been doing this over in England forever, in the United States, we're just now starting to scratch the surface. Hi, my name is Mike with Extraction. So what we do is we get mattress units from landfills and MRFs and individuals. Those units then come into our warehouse. We then have recyclers that will cut them down and take off a couple of the recycled materials. Those materials get baled. We then take those and we send them off for further recycling. At this facility, we process anywhere between 15 to 35,000 mattresses a month. We also process another 300 tons of pocket coils per month. We export about 20 to 30 tons a day of recyclable metal. We're taking a commodity that would normally go to landfill. We're taking that out of the landfill, and then we're able to extract recyclable materials out of it, reutilize that, and repurpose it. Therefore, it reduces our load in the landfill, reduces the environmental impact, and reduces our carbon footprint also. Many companies have tried to employ some sort of automation to recycle mattresses or pocket springs, whether that be mechanical separation or shredding. However, some of the issues with it is, especially in pocket coils, the hard tensile strength and basically makeup of the pocket coils makes it very hard on equipment. So when other companies, other competitors have tried, they've came in and they've destroyed a lot of pieces of equipment. So we had to come in at it from a different angle. So we started looking at the actual metallurgy of these mechanical separators. We started looking exactly how pocket coils and mattresses were manufactured and built, and what the best way would be to tear those apart. And we're finally able to come up with a solution to where we can effectively start the automation process of recycling mattresses. And that has greatly benefited our throughput and productivity. And it is true, states are starting to enact legislation to either limit or ban mattresses from landfill. But the problem is if they enact this legislation and they have no infrastructure in place, then they have nobody to recycle these mattresses. So our job, for our company anyways, is to put that infrastructure in place. It's to bring our equipment over. It's to enact the streamlined processes that we have over here in California and these other states that we can have this throughput capability for when mattresses need to be recycled. As more and more states start enacting legislation to ban mattresses from landfill, it is going to creep up on them very quickly. This problem, it's not going to go away. It's going to get much worse, especially in the next 10 to 15 years. And not only is it about helping states with their legislation, it's also about bringing this recycling process to the communities that need it. Because the mattress recycling.
All right, so if y'all can hear me. All right, the video you just saw is our California operation. It's called Extraction. We opened up Massachusetts because we knew there was a landfill ban, and we also process mattresses for the Rhode Island MRC program as well. So we bring volume in from a couple different states, not only Massachusetts. So we're in the process of bringing that process over. So, and that's important. I think there's a good equal medium between hand processing and automation. Automation is very hard if it's not done the correct way. So they've been doing it probably for about a good 4 to 5 years in California, and now we're bringing that process here. Until then, we're doing the manual operation for the next 6 to 7 months, and then next year, when the what I call the surge picks up, we'll be ready for that. So I'm going to shift gears now that you kind of saw what our California operation is like and what we're going to actually bring here into Massachusetts. I'm going to talk a little bit about, what are the complications? Again, Eric talked a lot in his video, showed a lot of how you demand stuff. The video here and this is MRC allowed us to use their image. So, and that's the Mattress Recycling Council. And it's a really great image to kind of see on what makes up a mattress. So mattresses are extremely recyclable, 95%. You have all kinds of different mattresses that come in. Out of that, you get foam. And this is my little circular process that you get out of these things. So you have foam, you have steel, you have topper, you have wood, clean and very clean wood. It's not treated wood, it's not painted wood. It's very clean. It's on the inside of the mattress, so it actually has a lot of value. Some states allow you to burn it, some require you to mulch it. So, and there's other markets for it downstream, such as making particle board. Because again, there is no contamination in it. The next thing is going to be, you see here is our bale. You'll see a couple pictures in my presentation on what these commodities look like in a larger format. What Massachusetts is facing right now is it's kind of a trifold problem. You have to be able to find a place to get rid of those mattresses. You can't take them to the landfill anymore. You have to take them to a recycler. So what we do is we offer the opportunity as a recycler to have units dropped off. So the first image here is your drop off. So if you have a truck and a trailer and you want to bring your mattresses in, we can take them all day long. So the next thing is going to be residential curbside. This is a huge issue right now facing the state. A lot of municipalities have, I should say not municipalities, I should say a lot of haulers, a lot of waste haulers have chosen to pull themselves out of that equation. They no longer provide curbside drop-off services. So if you have a resident and they have 2 units and they have to get rid of them, one, they can't take them to a landfill, or they can technically take them to a transfer station and a landfill, but they're being told a lot that they cannot, and they feel like they cannot. So what happens is they end up just saying, well, maybe I can have someone come by and pick it up at my door. So that's another issue. How do you find and how do you deliver that service as curbside? So one of the things we've had to look into as a company is, and we've had to really reconfigure our entire business model to provide curbside drop-off service. And that means if I have a mattress and I need to get rid of it in Massachusetts, I can go to our website, I can go to the portal, and then I can schedule that. Okay, so again, for anybody that's wanting to recycle a mattress, a little wet is okay. A little dirty is okay. A little stained is okay. A little ripped is okay. It's just, they're okay. 95% of the mattresses that are out there that you may have or you think that is bad can be recycled. It's just, you have to check. You have to check with your municipality. You got to check with your recycler. You got to check with, and just take a look at it. It just can't sit outside for 3 days in the rain, because then if you look at the picture here, this is a little dirty, but it is recyclable. It does have a lot of ability to recycle. So if you've never seen, what comes out of a mattress, this is foam and this is topper. This is topper here and this is foam. So a topper is what's on top of your mattress. So if you've ever laid on your mattress, it's what's on the very top of it. And then on the inside of that, there's a layer of foam. These two items make carpet padding. So if you've ever seen carpet padding under your carpet, that crazy looking kind of different colored stuff, that's literally mattresses being recycled. And it's the coolest thing. I learned this and I was like, oh my God. They actually take this stuff, they cut it all up, they glue it, they press it, and then they make carpet padding. So it does have reuse. I mean, this is a huge product that comes out of mattresses. So if you get anything out of here today, it's you get carpet padding out of it. This is pocket coils, another item that comes out of it, out of mattress. So this is a really great thing. It's a challenge, but the great thing is that we're able to recycle it. These are the kind of cool things that you used to see when, I'd say when I was a kid, is you would have the bowling ball and you throw it on a mattress and it would not move the other side. That's because that's what this is. It's a pocket coil. But the great thing is the industry now is learning how to be able to recycle things like this. We can take that, and in that is steel. So that steel can be recycled. And the plastic on the outside is polypropylene, and that can be recycled as well. So again, what I'm trying to say is that mattresses are highly recyclable. So again, this is your estate. This is where you can try to find the recyclers, but again, this is where most of your recyclers are. You can get servicing. We're up and around here. So we have the ability to service the entire state. And what we do is, we work with other towns. So if you have a town that's in any of these areas, we work with those towns to help find recycling avenues for your mattresses. One of the biggest things I say is, whenever you're recycling your mattress, and however you think about that, is first thing to do is go to your town website, pull up their website, and then start looking and asking what you can do with mattresses. A lot of your towns and cities are very helpful in being able to provide residents with information on how to recycle mattresses, where to recycle mattresses. They usually have a couple contact points. So, just go onto your town website and ask someone there, and I'm sure that they're going to have some way to be able to tell you how to recycle your mattress. But if you get anything out of my speech today is, mattresses they're so great to recycle, and it's so much fun to actually be in a warehouse. And actually, I always say that, I never ever thought as a kid that I would be recycling mattresses, but today I'm recycling mattresses, and it's really cool. So if you have a mattress, look out there for a recycler. Try to find a recycle, like someone like what Eric, who his company actually goes out there and provides a lot of different services as a result of recycling mattresses. Our biggest primary purpose right now is just to be there and try to make sure those mattresses don't get to landfill, and that we can recycle up to about 85, or actually about 75 to 85% of those mattresses the inner part of a mattress can be recycled. Only about 10% has to go to landfill. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So recycle that mattress. Don't landfill that mattress. It's terrible. Recycle it. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Rodney, and thank you for leaving us on that good note of recycle your mattress. There, you'll find a way. Just take a look and do some internet searches, and I'm sure you'll find what to do or how to do it. So thank you, and thanks for all our presentations. You all included a lot of really great visuals and videos, which I think is really helpful to kind of see what's going on. So thank you. I'm gonna share my screen 1 second. All right. So now that we've heard from everyone, we're gonna go right into our question time. And I'm gonna look through the chat and see what we have, and feel free to just unmute and take a turn and answer what we've got. So let's see. For the textile folks, are any of these clothes items making their way to homeless people? Sean or Nicole?
I mean, for us, yes. I mean, some of our young people are direct recipients of the clothing. Our south end location is right across the street from the Pine Street Inn, which is the largest homeless shelter, obviously, in Boston. And so some of our clothes get diverted to there. So yeah, yes, they do.
Awesome.
With Helpsy, we do the coat drives. We give out the coats that we collect. We have worked with other organizations like Reeboks when all the back when all the, I want to say those that I can't think of the name of the group of people that came over here when there was a bit there was a problem over there. But anyways, we help with giving out clothes to Reebok at one point. So
are you thinking of refugees?
There we go. I couldn't think of the word. Thank you so much for helping me. But yes, we help work with refugees to give them some clothing through Reeboks and other organizations. Thank you for saving me.
All right. And do any of you have bins on the South Shore or in Sturbridge, or maybe can people check on your website to see where there might be donation bins? Yes.
Yeah, we have a bin finder on our website.
Okay. And Sean, you were nodding too. So yeah.
Yeah, and we have one as well. We do have, off the top of my head, we have them in Hingham and Duxbury. So I think both are at the recycling centers.
All right. And we did put the links to their websites in the chat. So please scroll up and, feel free to dig around and see what's close to you. Let's see. Mattresses. Do you deliver mattresses purchased from the retail store? So Eric, I think that one's for you.
Yeah, great question. So we will deliver them. Clearly, it's easier for us in the New Bedford area because it's close. But now that we have our trucks going all over the state, or a large percentage of state sort of servicing customers, we're happy to do that. There's a delivery charge, but we sort of try to be reasonable on that.
Nice. And for both of our mattress speakers, how do you ensure or guarantee that there are no bed bugs in the mattresses?
Oh, good question. Eric, do you want me to do that one first?
Yeah, why don't you do it first and talk about just generally, I'll talk about it on the sales side.
Yeah, that's a careful thing as for our workers as well in the warehouse and the people that are actually handling them. We do have bed bug trainings within our operations within the recycler processes. So when we can actually see if there are bed bugs on it just by, it sounds kind of gross, but there's droppings and it looks almost like a little mold between the stitchings. So we can identify it and see it. It doesn't mean that we don't catch it 100% of the time. If you have a bed bug unit, or you think a bed bug unit is coming out of any location, whether it be a house or a homeless encampment or someone that moves out and you're not sure if it belonged to them, then it's best to say on the safe side to have it landfilled, because this way you don't put other people at risk. You don't put workers at risk. You don't put the drivers at risk that are out picking up those units. So, but yeah, bed bugs are a part of the industry, unfortunately. It does happen, but we just try to mitigate it by identifying. We have, again, training that allows us to see the telltales of where bed bugs have been, if they've been on a mattress at all. It's a really gross topic, but it's a good topic to discuss.
That's good to know. Eric, anything you want to add?
Yeah, I mean, I think Rodney did a great job explaining sort of how we all try to identify them. I know it comes up a lot when people talk about, well, you're selling used mattresses. How do you guarantee there's no bed bugs in them? First, as Rodney said, clearly, if there was ever any sign of bed bugs in there, there are telltale signs. We would never try to resell those mattresses. But also, as part of our license from the state to sanitize and clean the mattresses, we apply a chemical called Sterifab, which is considered the best way to ensure that if there was any bed bugs, they would be eliminated. Again, I think it's more of a safeguard because we would never even think about trying to resell something that had any sort of suggestion of bed bugs.
All right, thank you. Here's another mattress one. I live in Boston, where hundreds, if not thousands, of clean, lightly used mattresses go on the curb and into the trash when students move out in May and September. 20% of Boston's populations are students, postdocs, med students, etc. How can we capture these mattresses that have a lot of life left in them? Any thoughts?
I would just jump in and say the city of Boston just came out with an RFP, and they selected a couple of vendors. I don't know, Roundy, if you're going to be part of that, but so basically, as of January, they're going to have a mattress recycling program in place.
Yeah, I think it's not just Boston. I think if you look at any any city in Massachusetts that has a college, a community college, a city college, a university. It's not just Boston, right? And thos units are, yeah, as I just said, are actually very good units. They're lightly used. They've been used for maybe 6 to 8 months, and then they get put on the street side. The great thing is those are universities usually work with recyclers, and they coordinate curbside pickups for those particular universities or learning institutions, and they coordinate that with when students are moving out. So you may see a lot of them out there, but a lot of times the universities are working to get at least 75 to 80% of those units recycled. The other 20% are going to students that live off campus. And as Eric was mentioning, Boston has been very progressive and very they've been putting it forward to make sure that there are collection systems out there to capture that 20% of units that may end up curbside for a resident that maybe not be able to move their mattress to a recycler. They call that contracted vendor. The vendor then comes out, picks up the unit and takes it away. So there is a way to capture those units. So those units are actually being recycled. So that's a really good question.
All right, and we're going to switch gears a little. This one's for More Than Words and Helpsy. Do you have a list of the towns where you do home pickups and where you have drop-off bins? So I think you did say yes to the website, so it's kind of the same thing. All right. Let's see. Helpsy, who is the middle tier that you are selling to, if I understood the slide correctly?
So that's usually bulk, a lot of bulk to other thrift stores, other resellers, things like that.
Thank you. If we as a resident bring a mattress to one of your facilities, is there a fee for this?
I'll go. You may go, Eric, or you want to go? I'll go. So yes, there is a fee. We try to keep it at a minimal rate. Every recycler is going to try to charge a fee to drop off units at their facility. Our fee to drop off at our facility, for example, is $25. So if you bring a unit in, and again, a unit is a mattress and or a box spring. So it's not a set. So that $25 applies to a mattress. That $25 applies to a box spring. It's much cheaper than if you were to take it to a transfer station or a landfill. So we tried to make sure that our price point is a lot lower than if you have to take it to a landfill. But yes, there is a fee to bring it to our facility.
Sorry about that, Red. I could get myself off mute. Yes, absolutely right. We also do charge a fee because it still has a cost to us to recycle those or to take them apart.
All right, good to know. For tough stuff,
can we ask Eric what the fee is? Sorry. I'm curious to know, Eric, also whether it includes the box springs.
Yeah, so we do mattresses and box springs, as Rodney said. Our fee is $35 per mattress or box spring if you bring it to us.
All right. Can futons be recycled too?
Good question. Eric, I'll let you go first on that one.
No, go ahead, Rodney.
Unfortunately, futons cannot be recycled. The reason being is a lot of the times they're filled with cotton, all cotton, and cotton is not recyclable, unfortunately. It's a post-consumer cotton. So when you pull that cotton out of a futon, there are no real downstream recyclers for it. So it's really hard. So basically it's all cotton inside the inside of it. So unfortunately, and part of there's again, the mattress landfill ban in Massachusetts, futons are not included in that ban. So you can dispose of those, and they are not considered a mattress.
All right, thank you. And then we had a clarifying comment from Rachel too, saying futons are excluded from the waistband, just like you just said, Rodney, and they don't meet the definition of a mattress. So, let's see. And are also not included in the textile ban. Thank you, Janice. Sorry, I'm just scrolling through the chat to see if I've missed any questions. To Helpsy, how much per pound do you pay towns for the curbside textiles that you pick up, if you know off the top of your head, or an estimate?
So usually we start off with towns at $40 per ton. But again, if they have an RFP, it depends on what they ask for. It's a negotiation between the town and Helpsy.
All right, thank you. If anyone has any other questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. I think we've got most of them. Janice, if I missed any, please let me know. Please go ahead and let me know.
Well, there was a question about dog rescue organization, crib mattresses and small blankets are high demand. Like how would a shelter for animals or something get partner with you, Rodney, or Eric, if you were to get small mattresses that maybe you wouldn't resell to a human, but maybe could be helpful for a doggy?
I mean, we'd be happy to talk to anyone about that. You know, crib mattresses are not that common. I would say maybe 1% of everything we take in are crib mattresses, but clearly if there's a way we could sort of help or extend the life of those with an organization, you know, we'd happy to do it. So feel free to just, you know, go to my website, handupmattress.com and reach out information. I'd be happy to sort of figure out that with someone.
I agree. I think that there can be a reuse factor for them. I think it's important though, whether it's, you know, it's a dog or it's a human being. I mean, I have a dog, so I want to be very careful on what I provide my dog to sleep on, just as I would provide, you know, a child or my house or someone in my household. So I think that, you know, if I were going to do that, I would make sure that there is practices in place and you know, that allow that bed to be prepared for an animal, so that you know, that dog has a good bed, and it's not just because it's a, you know, it's a dog that, you know, they get a less of a quality of a bed. And so that involves a lot of I would almost say yes, complicated procedures. We have to make sure that whatever dog sleeps on that bed is going to have a good night's sleep and not you have to worry about, you know, anything that's going to be that's going to come with a reused bed. So it's a very careful thing. It's a great idea. We just have to see if we can implement it at some point.
Thank you. And then one last question, I think, what is the typical lifespan of a general mattress?
Oh, that's a good question. Eric, let me go on that one, and then I'll let you go.
Yes, go ahead.
So it's changed a lot. A lot of students and a lot of younger people will go through a mattress in about 1 to 3 years, and that's the introduction of bed in the box. So a lot of the older generation will have a mattress for 5 to 10 years. So that's what we see a lot of now, or a lot of the older mattresses that have been in the you know, a house or a garage or someone's guest room for such a long period of time. So it all depends on how much you spend on a mattress too. If you spend $2,000 on the mattress, you're probably not going to get rid of it at the end of the year. So I would say currently right now, the usual average, again, thanks to bed in the box, is about 1 to 3 years.
Eric, anything you want to add? Or
No, I think that's fair. Yeah, I think it's fair.
right. Well, thank you. I don't see anything else coming in, so I think we should call it because it's a few minutes after 8.
Oh, Kat, I did see something. I don't know if people want to stay, but there was a question about, it was an extension of the question about mattresses on the curb in Boston. And essentially, like, is there a way or is there thought to, these are for students that live off campus, to collect those mattresses in order to get them to people in transitional housing, or maybe for the refugee population that's coming in, instead of sending them straight to recycle?
I mean, I would say on our end, we don't necessarily specifically target any, you know, college or whatever, but when the mattresses come in, if they are not end of life mattresses, we of course are trying to extend their lives. And we are working with a few different charities around the state where we send them, you know, quality mattresses that still have life left in them. And again, our mission is focused on refugees and immigrants, but we've also worked with a women's shelter and another group that helps people that are coming out of homeless shelters in their first apartment. So absolutely, we're trying to do that. Again, our experience thus far is about 7% of what we bring in can be reused, and so we're doing that. So I don't think we necessarily have to just say, you know, just about students or whatever, but it's just everything we bring in. We first look at that as the first priority of try to extend the life before we recycle.
I agree, and you know, Eric is set up, his business is set up in a manner that allows those units to be transitioned. So if they are good enough, they can be transitioned to a reusable, resellable unit. That in itself has a process that is it's regulated. You know, it's made sure so that it's safe. So anybody, it can be a homeless person, it could be someone in a shelter, it could be, I mean, for anyone. And again, I like to just be a little more broad. You know, you have people that are less, you know, the income disadvantaged. They have lower income streams coming in. Those people also, you know, need mattresses, and they can't afford to go out and buy a, you know, $1,000 mattress or a $500 mattress. And so having the ability to buy a reused mattress, and this is one of the services that Eric provides that is really valuable, is it's across the board, right? So he gets to work with not only other nonprofits, but he gets to provide mattresses to people that may not be able to afford to go out and buy a $1,000 mattress. So, but just as he said, it's very important that, you know, we just can't take a certain group of mattresses and then just give them to, you know, homeless people or people in shelters. It's, we look at the larger picture and go, how can we provide a broader service to everybody? So if there is a reusable mattress, so there a mattress that can have a longer shelf life and can be converted out for someone else to reuse, then that's great. But we have to make sure that that mattress has the same quality and conditions for someone like me to sleep on, or someone, you know, like my neighbor to sleep on, or my mom to sleep on, or my dad to sleep on, right? We want to make sure that that mattress has the same quality controls for anybody that's going to sleep on it. And that's very important. And that's one of the things I really respect Eric for with his business is, you know, being able to provide that level of reuse and functionality for mattresses.
All right, well, thank you both for that answer. And thanks, Janice, for catching that one. I think that's it. And so I just want to take a second to thank our speakers for their time tonight and sharing the work that you do. It was really great to see, and really great to kind of open everybody's eyes to see that something's happening with these materials after it's collected. So thank you. And thank you to everyone who joined to learn more about this. I know I learned a lot, so I really hope you did too. And then this is just a shameless plug that if you want to learn more about recycling and reuse in Massachusetts, check out recyclesmartma.org, or we post on social media a couple times a week. And of course, don't forget to check out all of our speakers' organizations. The links were in the chat, or you can just search them and learn even more about the work that they do. So thank you, everyone, and I hope you all have a really great night.
Thank you. Recycle that mattress.
Thanks.